www.kra.go.ke to be advised on how you qualify. Chapa Reset na Tax Amnesty Program. Terms and conditions apply. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
The lives of two young girls.
My star sign is lucky. Something good will happen.
Yani mom na dad wana fight na wewe kazi yako ni zodiac signs.
Raised by secrets.
There's a lot going on at the moment in this house.
Is about to be changed forever. When their true identity is uncovered in the brand new unmissable Zari. Starts 23 October. Only on Maisha Magic Plus, channel 163 on DSTV Access, GoTV Plus, channel 3.
All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023. It is now easier to report and surrender. Visit www.ufaa.go.ke and get started. Beat the November 1st deadline. It is your turn to surrender and report qualifying unclaimed financial assets. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Bamba Nyumba na AMG. Win a 3-bedroom house in Nanyuki sitting on a quarter-acre or a 30K weekly shopping voucher or a monthly plot with Bamba Nyumba na AMG promotion. For every 100K you spend buying or paying for your plot, you earn 1 entry to the draw. The more you invest, the more entries you get. Call 0796 888 555 today. Bamba Nyumba na AMG. Usiwachwe nyuma.
This is NTV.
Tonight, our cameras remain on the Mavoko demolitions as the courts ignored pleas of victims and political leaders to halt the ongoing demolitions. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations has opened a case file, and the government says homeowners who had their houses demolished must be compensated by the land grabbers. Was this a miscalculation by the state? What happened in Mavoko? We seek to make sense of that later on Front and Center. I'll be joined in studio by architect Professor Alfred Omenya, lawyer Annabel Njoki, and governance analyst Leonard Khavafa. Do stand by for that conversation later on. Welcome to the broadcast. NTV Tonight begins now.
Tonight, the people of Kenya spoke about their desire for a medical system that leaves nobody behind.
President William Ruto launches the new journey to comprehensive health coverage with a mix of new laws and new funds. Also tonight,
the contractor also ought to have been informed about the weather challenges, and also the demolition took a lot of time than the construction part of it.
Ready for the big day and business boon. Kericho County in last-minute rush in preparation for Mashujaa Day celebrations. Plus,
ni muhimu tuje pamoja bila kujali mirengo yetu ya kisiasa kuzungumza masala ya kimaendeleo.
The Coast United. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi convenes a rare meeting of Coast politicians in a push for a share of the national cake. And court declines to stop demolitions as government insists occupants of disputed land must leave. What happened in Mavoko? Front and Center tonight.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Ben Kitili.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. The Environment and Land Court in Machakos has declined to stop the Mavoko land evictions, stating that the applicants had no right over the land since all proof shows that it belongs to the East African Portland Cement Company. The Aimi Malu Kenya Society and other interested parties had sought orders to stop the evictions and demolitions on the disputed Portland Cement land. Meanwhile, Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome wants all those occupying government land to vacate immediately, adding that Aimi Malu Kenya Society must compensate the Mavoko evictees without fail. NTV's Sydney Chazima begins our coverage tonight.
There will be no reprieve for the Mavoko land evictees. The Environment and Land Court in Machakos has declined to stop the ongoing evictions and demolitions.
Article 40, sub-article 6 of the Constitution limits constitutional protection to property that is lawfully acquired. That provision is expounded in Section 26 of the Land Registration Act, which removes legal protection from a title obtained by fraud, misrepresentation, illegality, want of procedure, or through a corrupt scheme. In
her ruling, Lady Justice Annette Nyukuri adds that the applicants did not file the case with clean hands.
Where there are two titles, and at the preliminary application, there is no reasonable evidence as to the authenticity on the two titles. It is only fair to preserve the suit property. The first respondent attached a forensic report to show that entry number 7 in the plaintiff's title was a forgery. They also availed evidence from the Registrar of Societies to show that the plaintiff was registered as a society on 25th September 2014 and that therefore they were not in existence in 2019 when they purported to have purchased the suit property from the first respondent.
The Aimi Malu Kenya Society, the alleged seller of the land, among other interested parties, had sought the orders to stop the demolitions, arguing that the 9th October ruling that pronounced that the land belonged to the EAPC didn't give orders to demolish or evict.
We're talking about people's lives and a complete derogation, destruction of livelihoods. This is a matter that my learned colleagues, further defendants, may probably not even have taken notice.
Meanwhile, Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome has confirmed that the ministry is in possession of the documents of the disputed Mavoko land.
In respect of that land, which is LR number or land reference number 10424, be registered in the name of East African Portland Cement Company Limited. Any other documents out there purported to be held in respect of the said land, whether by way of subdivision, by original title, by transfer, or those other land documents which are out there, and we have seen them being circulated, do not emanate from this office.
Wahome has sent a message to the country warning all parties currently occupying government land to vacate, putting on notice shadowy individuals who are duping Kenyans with fake land deals.
We'll cooperate and work with the investigating officers to get to the root bottom of this particular unfortunate incidents where obviously innocent Kenyans may have fallen into prey, into the hands of conmen, fraudsters who should be behind bars.
More than 20 homes have so far been flattened, rendering hundreds of families homeless. With this new ruling, more and more are set to be evicted to pave way for what the government termed as the expansion of the EPZ zone. Sydney Chazima, NTV.
Of course, we'll get into that more deeply later on Front and Center. Now, leaders from the Coast region from across the political divide are now fronting a unity of purpose in pursuit of development. In a one-of-a-kind meeting held in Nairobi today, Cabinet Secretaries Aisha Juma and Salim Mvurya, Speaker of the Senate Amason Kingi, and Pioneer Mombasa Governor Hassan Ali Joho sat across the same table. Our senior political affairs reporter, Ibrahim Karanja, takes a look at this new development and the potential impact.
In what observers say may be a new dawn to the political direction of the coastal region, leaders from the 6 coastal counties put aside their political differences for a unity of purpose. 2 cabinet secretaries, 6 governors, former governors and a host of members of parliament.
Katika awamu hii ya miaka mitano ya serikali hii ambayo iliyo kwa sasa, ni vitu gani hivi ambavyo kama viongozi tunaweza shikana kusukuma ili kuleta maendeleo katika ukanda ule wa pwani?
In their midst, pioneer Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho, whose absence from public political engagements either in his Azimio coalition or his party ODM has been conspicuous.
We will look for the president. We have tasked Governor Mvurya, CS Mvurya and CS Asha and Speaker Kingi to reach out to the president so that we can quickly resolve, most importantly for now, the issues that touch on our ports. And then later on, we will have a structured development engagement that touches on the people of the coastal region. Am I clear? Tumeelewa.
Mkutano wao ni mkutano wa watu wanaojuana, wengine walikuwa katika vyeo kitambo kwa muda mrefu. Tumeona magavana waliokuwa zamani ikiwa hawakujua kuleta maendeleo pwani wakati wako katika vyeo katika pwani, na sasa ambao hawako katika vyeo vile, sioni kama kuna mabadiliko kwa minajili ya maendeleo. Sasa kwa upande mwingine tutaona kwamba wameiga wenzao kutoka magharibi ya Kenya, Western Kenya, ambao tayari waliungana wakapeleka delegation kwa rais na wakatoa maombi yao na maombi yakaitika.
But veiled as a unity of purpose in pursuit of development, this convergence may mean just more than that. And if indeed it lasts, its impact will be felt not only in the coastal region, but also nationally. To start with, it is the first time for Joho and Kingi to sit on the same table. The two were one-time strong mobilizers for Azimio leader Raila Odinga, but they fell out in the run-up to the 2022 general election. Their unity now and attempts to work with President Ruto could be a threat to Odinga's political influence in the region in favor of President Ruto.
Mwelekeo wa kisiasa utategemea wapwani wenyewe. Mpaka dakika hii wapwani wanapozungumza wamechoka na uongozi ambao hautekelezi yale matakwa ya wapwani.
Then there is the goings on at the National Dialogue Committee, which will soon be giving its report. This unity is seen as angling for the harvests from that discourse. Yet several realities may scuttle the unity attempts if not well handled. First off would be the scramble for positioning in whatever formation. With Joho and Kingi, both heavyweights in their own right, then there is local politics, such as the one pitting Ayala Member of Parliament Hassan Omar and Nyali lawmaker Muhammad Ali, and by extension, Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir. In light of these developments, all the leaders here will be keen to be the chess players, lest they find themselves as the pawns in a wide political game. Ibrahim Karanja, NTV.
Still in politics, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has dared President William Ruto to tour Mount Kenya and reiterate his recent remarks on government shareholding, which he made during his tour of Nyanza. Kahiga, an ally of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, has termed the remarks by the head of state as political talk. Rigathi has since maintained that Kenya is like a limited company with shareholders whose interests come first, while others who never played a part in forming the Kenya Kwanza government come last. NTV's Margaret Kimathi reports.
Following differing stances between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua on the shareholding remarks, Mount Kenya leaders have rallied behind the DP. Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has told President William Ruto to reiterate his recent remarks on government shareholding to settle the unease among leaders in Mount Kenya region.
Why would there be any difference? What is the problem? I do not know. Maybe it comes from the statements that were made by the president in Nyanza. And I personally have said, Mr. President, I know that was all politics. If it wasn't, let's hear it repeated in the mountain. The president was here for 6 days. He never raised those issues. He never spoke about them, and he is instead, he is the bastion and the figure of unity for this country.
Nyeri Town MP Maina Mathenge, a close ally to the DP, has castigated leaders who are faulting Gachagwa's remarks, urging them to demand their share of investment as well, according to how their regions voted.
We contributed 47% of the votes that put the Kenya Kwanza government into power. We have no apologies to make for it. Every voter had his share certificate. They casted their share somewhere. We casted with Kenya Kwanza. We must see the dividends of their votes.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's recent announcement that he is pursuing retired President Uhuru Kenyatta for dialogue has elicited mixed reactions as far as Mount Kenya region's unity is concerned. A section of leaders believe that lack of talks and unity has hampered entrenchment of development in the region that overwhelmingly voted for the Kenya Kwanza government that is led by President William Ruto.
They can have the talk together. They don't even need to involve anybody else. And then we can always progress. Because as a community, I have continued to say that the unity of the mountain is key, is important.
Hii mambo ni ya nyumba. Tunajua kuna wazee wanaweza enda wakae mahali ndani na waongee, na wakitokea tunajua ile moshi itakuwa hapo, itakuwa moshi ambayo itakuwa mwelekeo maalum. He has only one role: to become the senior-most statesman and advisor to the community.
Kikuyu Council of Elders National Vice Chairperson David Mudhoga says the region risks lagging behind in terms of development if leaders continue bickering and failing to support the DP.
If we don't speak one language, we are not going to get anything from the President Ruto. The moment he knows that we are not in talking terms, naturally as a human being, he'll be very happy because you go to where there are projects that are initiated.
DP Rigathi Gachagua is expected to tour Nyeri County on Saturday to cement his support base as well as newfound uniting Mount Kenya leadership. Margaret Kimathi, NTV.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto has signed 4 healthcare bills into law, which are meant to improve the status of health by ensuring all Kenyans get access. In the wake of universal health coverage, President Ruto says the bills will also ensure Kenyans get comprehensive health covers. Let's get more from NTV's Helen Aura.
As Kenya makes its 4th attempt to implement the universal health coverage, at least 26% of Kenyans right now are reported to have one form of a health cover, leaving the other 74% clutching at straws in the event they or a family member are infected by a chronic ailment, leading many families to the brink of poverty. The Kenya Kwanza government says it is ready to walk the talk to ensure the narrative changes.
Many Kenyans have asked me, what happens to the person who cannot afford 300? I want to say, under the laws we have passed, even those who cannot afford 300 will now have an opportunity to have an insurance cover, so that we can truly say no Kenyan will be left behind.
The 4 bills that President William Ruto assented on Thursday include the Digital Health Bill, the Social Health Insurance Fund Bill, the Primary Healthcare Bill, and the Facility Health Financial Bill. The Digital Health Bill is set to establish and maintain a comprehensive integrated health information system, while the Primary Healthcare Bill is set to provide the role of community health officers and community health promoters in the provision of community-based primary healthcare services.
The new Social Health Insurance Act will now address financial barriers to healthcare and the existing challenges faced by NHIF by establishing the Social Health Authority. This law will repeal the current National Hospital Insurance Fund Act and establish 3 new funds as follows: the Primary Health Care Fund, the Social Health Care Fund, the Emergency, Chronic, and Critical Illness Fund. These funds will ensure public-funded primary health care, emergency care, and universal health insurance.
It will not be possible for the doctor
treating a patient in a different county to be able to access those medical records from another county and do the right diagnosis. That will save a lot of lives, and that is what the future holds for Kenyans.
For many years, and many Kenyans have given us feedback that they were not able to know what is it that they are covered for. Despite paying 500 shillings, they did not know what their benefit is. We have worked with the team, Your Excellency. Now we are clear on what is the benefit as soon as you make your payment. What is it that you are entitled to? Your Excellency, we have removed exclusions. We have removed limitations.
While Kenya implement universal health coverage on Mashujaa Day on the 20th of October, in Kericho, the fate of majority of healthcare workers still remain in limbo as they are still pushing for comprehensive health cover.
In the wake of what many Kenyans now hail as a new health architecture for the country, the Council of Governors still maintain that the two healthcare bills need more consultation, more so on the formulation of regulations to enact them as bills. On the other hand, Kenyans will now have to dig deeper into their pockets to fund the implementation of the universal health coverage. Helen Aura, NTV.
The country is set to mark the 60th Mashujaa Day celebrations tomorrow. Kericho County will be hosting the event, and its capacity has been put to the test. Business is booming and hotels are booked to capacity, and thousands of visitors have been forced to seek accommodation in neighboring counties. An incomplete 10,000 capacity Kericho Green Stadium has been handed over to the county of Kericho ahead of tomorrow's celebrations. NTV's Ruth Sarmwe has more from Kericho.
A few hours to the celebration to mark Kenya's Diamond Jubilee saw workers rushing against time to patch up the incomplete section of Kericho Green Stadium. The VIP dais and the public terraces were complete. According to the chairperson of Kericho's Chamber of Commerce, the 2 months' notice given to prepare for Mashujaa Day celebrations were not sufficient.
Among the problem that maybe delayed the whole process is that the demolition took a lot of time than the construction part of it. Most of the things will not be complete as a result of such factors.
Even then, business is still abuzz in this transit town.
Hali ya biashara kwa sasa sio mbaya. Every person is doing something.
We are really happy that it was brought to Kericho. The hotel business in Kericho has picked up, and all the other businesses, at least for this time, we are enjoying.
Thousands of guests have been forced to seek accommodation in neighboring counties, among them Bomet and Kisumu. Dominic Ocheng is one of the hoteliers in Kericho and paints for us a picture.
We have a 20-bed capacity. It's currently fully booked. We maintain our prices because we want the customers to know the prices so that when they come in after Mashujaa Day, they already know our pricing.
Tuko na manyumba karibu 20 na zote zimebukiwa. Walibook 2 weeks earlier.
We have close to 50 hotels in town. We cannot accommodate all the visitors that are coming to Kericho because we don't have that capacity as such. And I'm afraid some might be forced to sleep as far as Kisumu, Bomet, Nakuru.
Kericho Governor Dr. Eric Mutai says the county can only accommodate 700 people in its hotels, even as he called on investors to pump money into the tourism and hotel industry.
It's high time that our leaders and investors invest within Kericho town and the Kericho county for that purpose. It's unfortunate that most of what we ought to have tapped as a result of this opportunity that we happen to have gotten at this opportune time is going out.
Vehicles from Bomet, Litein, general direction heading to Kisumu will be required to divert at Premier Junction. Another diversion from Bomet, Litein general direction will be at Kipsigis Girls to Tegat Kisumu Junction. Motorists from Nakuru to Kisumu are advised to use Londiani, Mohoroni and join the Kisumu-Kericho Highway at Kipsitet area.
Despite the challenges brought about by the delays, the celebrations are still on, where the gates at the Kericho Green Stadium will be open from 3 a.m. and Kenyans will be required to have settled at 6 a.m. to allow the arrival of dignitaries and invited guests. This stadium can host a capacity of 10,000 people. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV in Kericho County.
Be sure to catch our comprehensive live wall-to-wall coverage of the 60th Mashujaa Day here on NTV tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. We are taking a quick commercial break here on NTV tonight. Don't go anywhere. We're back shortly with more news for you.
The lives of two young girls.
My star sign is lucky. Something good will happen.
Yani mom na dad wana fight na wewe kazi yako ni zodiac signs.
Raised by secrets.
There's a lot going on at the moment in this house.
Is about to be changed forever. When their true identity is uncovered in the brand new unmissable Zari. Starts 23 October. Only on Maisha Magic Plus, channel 163 on DSTV Access, GoTV Plus, channel 3.
The 2023 Financial Reporting Award is here. Join the FIRE Award to showcase your financial reporting excellence to the world. To participate, avail a soft copy of the latest annual report and audited financial statements and complete the participants' entry form, which can be accessed on the FIRE Award website www.fireaward.org for private sector entities or www.psasb.go.ke for public sector entities before the deadline of 19th October 2023. Get recognized for your financial reporting excellence and enter the FIRE Award now.
Did you know that malaria is a top 10 cause of death in Kenya, with over 10,000 Kenyans dying every year from malaria? And the reason being a mosquito. We believe protection and prevention is the best cure in the fight to end malaria. Mortein Doom, with its trusted formulation. It provides protection in seconds. So spread the Mortein Doom message of how you and I can fight to end malaria. Mortein Doom, Kenya's #1 choice.
Clean Cooking Association of Kenya, CCAK, is a not-for-profit organization with members from the public and private sectors, all dedicated to advancing clean cooking in Kenya. The Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, in partnership with CCAK, is hosting the 4th Clean Cooking Week from October 24th to 26th, 2023 at Nyayo Gardens, Nakuru County. This year's theme will be towards universal access to clean cooking solutions. Invest, innovate, involve, and transform. Join us for exhibitions, knowledge sharing, and media engagement as we work towards a cleaner, more sustainable future.
Are you with me?
No. This is your war, not mine. I don't want this anymore. You're on your own, Misha.
The idea is crazy, but it's worth a try.
Thanks. You were a true friend.
Okay, just keep your fingers crossed for me and Rahina Lvivna. I gotta go.
Let me through. I need to speak to the one in charge.
In vain.
Victoria Romanivna, good day to you. Vika, I want to know what is going on here. I trusted your people with my child's health.
Yes.
Yes, and you have the police here, inspections. My child might have a breakdown.
I'm very excited to introduce Ushidi Gardens Nakuru. This property is developed by Optiven, and we are doing compacted maramuros. We plant the trees, fence the property. So please call this number 0790 300 300. Optiven, we have you covered.
Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching NTV tonight. Now, a video clip of a lady who took a county government askari on what she termed as a ride after he got into her car has gone viral on social media. So who is she and why did she do that? NTV's Brian Mushiri caught up with Gloria Ntanzola.
County government askaris going rogue on motorists and street vendors is nothing new. But one askari got into a lady's car in what would have been the usual. It wasn't. He may have just met his match. Gloria Ntanzola recorded it all on video and it has since gone viral on social media. In the video, she is heard screaming at a seemingly helpless officer whom she claims had entered her car without her consent.
You wanted to take a road trip with me? I've even paid for this one. We are going to...
In a dramatic twist of events, Ntanzola zoomed off to an unknown destination with the askari at the co-driver's seat.
Ilikuwa around Jivanji. Yeah. So when I was trying to park my car, there is normally akukwangi nao nini kanjos wale wa blue. There's this one lady who's always dressed in a yellow coat. So she's the one who normally controls everything around that place. So while I was trying to park my car, then these 4 guys came towards my car.
Ntanzola says she, like any other Kenyan, was having a bad day and a cop was not going to make it worse.
I locked him inside of my car. Nikamwambia, I have a lot of free time. We can take rides with you because you really wanted to waste time. So I mean, nikamwambia, we can waste time together. I was actually willing to go like on a long trip with him. It's just that it was very late. If it was early during the day, ningempeleka tu mbali sana.
Believe it or not, Ntanzola drove from Jivanji to Kilimani and the Athi River.
Nikamtoa huko, tukaenda na yeye expressway. I knew if I use the normal road, we will encounter a lot of traffic. So I was like, you know what? I can just spend on this guy. I want to teach him a lesson. So we took the expressway, tukaenda hadi Kitengela.
However, Nairobi County Secretary Patrick Analo says both parties are at fault. In a statement, Analo says, and I quote, "It is an offense for anyone to enter someone's vehicle without their permission. The lady should have gone to the nearest police station and filed a report immediately, and intimating that she would go with the askari to Ngong is wrong and may be considered as kidnapping." Brian Mushiri, NTV, Nairobi.
In business tonight, 85% of registered Kenyan businesses are non-compliant to corporation tax despite a sharp surge in registered businesses in the country. Of the over 862,000 businesses registered at the Attorney General's office, 129,000 companies paid installment taxes. NTV's Brian George Otieno explains.
In the 2022-2023 financial year, the new companies that registered for corporation tax obligation were about 102,000. Cumulatively, at the end of the financial year of 2022-2023, 862,000 companies had been registered. Despite this phenomenon, the Kenya Revenue Authority reported 480,000 companies having filed their returns in 2022-2023 financial year. In the same year, 129,000 companies paid installment taxes, while 2021-2022 financial year, 123,030 companies paid installment taxes, signaling a rise in compliance levels for corporation tax over the years, according to the taxman. At a time when businesses are offlining and disabling their pay bills and till numbers to ostensibly avoid the taxman's hawk eye, KRA has deployed Revenue Service Assistants, RSAs, who will visit taxpayers' premises to assist in complying with tax laws. Although RSAs are frowned upon by the business community, the taxman says the RSAs will assist taxpayers to onboard onto the e-teams, register for correct tax obligations and file simplified returns such as turnover tax. Earlier, the taxman reported collecting 3.4 billion shillings out of the ongoing tax amnesty, with 17,000 taxpayers having taken advantage of the grace period, in which the taxman hopes to show up a total of 10.5 billion shillings. Brian George Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.
Women in business have decried discrimination in cross-border trade, calling on the regional governments to simplify documentation and trade processes. Cases of violence and mistreatment along the borders dominated during a workshop in Mombasa, seeking to address the challenges affecting women by facilitating gender dimensions of trade and strengthening the resilience of small and medium enterprises within the East African Northern Corridor. The conference is being attended by small-scale traders from the 6 East African countries, that is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
This region, we are exporting only less than 15%. And since agriculture forms a bulk of our export, we are here to network with women, educate them, and see how we can boost trade in this region.
Women are very resilient, and 80% of those women we call informer are the ones driving trade through these corridors, and they have their own challenges, but they have taken opportunities without any assistance. And in relationship to peace, they trade under the bullets. Yeah, they take the food, where they find a way of going through this. And I appreciate very much our colleague who said they would take it up to the member state.
As we leave it in business, time for another quick commercial break. When we return, Bernard Ndong has the day's sports.
New Sensodyne Repair and Protect with Deep Repair. It's a huge game changer for me. The science is pretty amazing because it really goes deep inside the tooth and repairs tooth sensitivity. I am a happy patient. I will be able to go back to the things that I enjoy eating the most. The science is there. It's going to improve the quality of my life in a big way. The new Sensodyne Repair and Protect with Deep Repair.
Looking for your dream home investment? Look no further. Introducing Impala Gardens, the future of comfortable living in Rongai. Enjoy resort-style living with a swimming pool, state-of-the-art gym, and a playground for your little ones. Unwind on our mini basket court with friends and family. Phase 1 ready for occupancy this January. Your chance to win a 3-bedroom from just 12.9 million and a 4-bedroom from 15.9 million. Secure your future today. Visit our website for more information. Impala Gardens, where luxury meets tranquility.
Mortein Doom, with its trusted formulation. It provides protection in seconds. So spread the Mortein Doom message of how we, you and I, can fight to end malaria.
Mortein Doom, Kenya's #1 choice.
Angusha kwa troli kila wiki na Carrefour. Shika Dawat basmati rice at only $9.99, Beatty selected juice at $1.20, fresh chicken leg at $4.74, na apple pink lady at only $2.39 shillings. Angusha kwa troli na Carrefour.
Hello there, it's time for the sports update. Good evening, I'm Bernard Ndong. The Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Ababu Namwamba, has confirmed that the 2024 African Nations Championships, that is CHAN, will be co-hosted with neighbors Uganda and Tanzania, in addition to the 2027 African Cup of Nations. The CS also revealed plans to renovate stadia around the country, including Baraki Sports Ground in Mombasa County, the Jomo Kenyatta Grounds in Kisumu, and the Bukhungu Stadium in Kakamega, in a move geared towards involving the counties in the continental showpiece.
Right now are joint efforts. So CHAN would also be a joint effort once the discussions with CAF are concluded. Tayari tumefanya mpango na KPA kwanza kurekebisha uwanja wa Mbaraki, na vile vile kuna mipango ya kujenga uwanja wa kimataifa. Tutashughulikia kiwanja cha Moi kule Kisumu na kiwanja cha Buhungu kule Kakamega, ili vile vile tuone jinsi wanaweza kuhusishwa kwenye shughuli hii.
Athletics legend Hezekiah Munyoro Nyamao has made an appeal to the Cabinet Secretary for Sports to do more to honor retired sportsmen and women who had flown the Kenyan flag high. Nyamao, who won gold in the men's 4x400 meters at the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich in Germany, was part of the quartet that includes Charles Asati, the late Julius Sang, and Robert Ouko.
As we celebrate Mashujaa Day tomorrow, our reporter Joshua Makori focuses on the track legend who also served in the Kenya Army.
At Nyaguta Nyaribari Chache constituency in Kisii County, we find Hezekiah Nyamao slashing grass in his farm. Nyamao is 86 years old and still has the energy to do manual labor. In his farm, Nyamao grows bananas, maize, and also rare cows, chicken, and sheep. Nyamao was part of the Kenyan quartet that won silver at the 1968 Mexico Olympics in his first international championship.
Tulienda Mexico, tukakimbia 4x400 meters, lakini tulipata silver. Kutoka hapo, tukaja Commonwealth Games, Edinburgh, Scotland. Tukabuaga watu wa Scotland wote tukapata gold medals. Halafu All African Championship, Lagos, Nigeria. Tukabuaga tukapata gold medals.
4 years later, at the 1972 Olympic in Munich, Nyamao upgraded to gold when he won the men's 4x400 meters Olympic title with Charles Asati, the late Julius Sang, and Robert Ouko.
Tukakimbia Asati ndiye alianza, akaenda, akanipa. Mimi nikaenda, nikapea Ouko. Ouko akapea nini? Sang. Sasa ile kitu ya ajabu ni hii. Wakati umemaliza namna hii, tulikuwa na tunakaa namna hii, tunaangalia na watu wangapi, atuwiki nini na ile kale, yeye anafanya nini? Anaendelea. Mpaka tukaje kuambiwa, Kenya, Kenya, Kenya. Kenya, Kenya, one, Kenya number. Unajua huko Kisungu hakuna. Utakuta mtu kutoka USA na England hapo ndiye anaongea Kisungu. Wewe anasema Kisungu hakuna. Kenya one, Kenya one. Kuangalia namna hii tunaona Sang iko wapi? Anapepea. Tunaangalia akamaliza. Tukapata gold medals.
Athletics has been a significant part of his life. His passion for the track began as a teenager more than 7 decades ago while in primary school.
Nilianzia Nyakuta Primary School. Nikatoka huko nikaenda Nyanjwa Secondary School. Ndibika 1963 62 recruitment ikaja hapa Kisii ya Army. Kufika hapo nikajua hapa hakuna mtu anaweza kushinda mimi kwa mbele. Sasa tukafanywa recruitment na nikaambiwa utaenda nyumbani, mtapewa gari wale mlichaguliwa mwende mpaka Nakuru Army Barracks. Tukaenda mpaka huko.
Nyamao also served in the Kenyan Army and retired from athletics in 1986. He then decided to shift his focus to coaching. Nyamao was honored in the 2020 Mashujaa Day that were held in Kisii County. The track legend, however, says more needs to be done.
Hii siku ya Mashujaa, muone Mashujaa, wengine wamekuwa wazee. Mwingine anakuwa anakimbia kama wengine akimbia anakaa iko nyumbani. Hakuna kitu anakula, hakuna nini. Ile nguo alikuwa kama alikuwa polisi, nikanguo kale kama alikuwa army, kama alikuwa nini. Watu tuise, naomba serikali tafadhali ituone huruma. Kama anaweza kuona hii wao watu wamekwisha, miaka yao imeisha. Wanataka ni pea wao kitu kama 200, 500, 100,000 wafanye nini? Wakula waende.
Joshua Makori, NTV Sport.
Quite a wonderful pace there by Joshua Makori. Finally, Liverpool and Egypt football star Mohamed Salah called for humanitarian aid to be allowed into Gaza on Wednesday as he pleaded for an end to, quote-unquote, the massacres in the conflict between Israel and Palestinian militant group Hamas. Through his social media pages, Salah said there has been too much violence, heartbreak, and brutality. He also called on the world leaders to come together to prevent further slaughter of innocent souls. Meanwhile, the Algerian Football Federation said on Wednesday it is suspending all football competitions and matches in what it termed as solidarity with the Palestinian people. That update from Mohamed Salah marks the end of the sports update. Another update in regards to that specific Israel-Palestinian conflict is the fact that also UEFA has mentioned that no games will be played in Israel.
That's good to see.
Yeah.
It's good to see the sporting world And of course, Bernard, a big weekend, Rugby World Cup semi-finals.
Absolutely.
I'm a Springboks fan and I'm celebrating
I knew you'd ask about that.
For a box All Blacks. But it's not a walk in the park in the semis,
Not necessarily, because you can imagine Springboks are the defending champions. They're facing off against England, a repeat of the 2019 final.
Yes.
And the other big one is New Zealand against Argentina. So it will be very interesting in the two semi-finals. Of course, the continent of Africa will be supporting the South Africans. Europe will be supporting England. And then, of course, Down Under and all those other countries in the Pacific area will be supporting New Zealand. So it's going to be very interesting. How do you call it?
Springboks to win another one against All Blacks.
So they're through to the final and then they'll face off against the All Blacks.
Yes.
Right. From sports, that's it for me. See you again soon.
Angusha kwa troli kila wiki na Carrefour. Shika Dawat basmati rice at only $9.99, Beatty selected juice at $1.20, fresh chicken leg at $4.74, na apple pink lady at only $2.39 shillings. Angusha kwa troli na Carrefour.
With Glovo, you've got the city at your fingertips. Hanging out na mnataka kuku fry ama nyama choma customized na ugali sosa? Order Glovo. Now enjoy. Time to shower and running out of soap? Order Glovo na uanze siku fresh. Ama simply treat family nzima with a sweet surprise. Delicious. With Glovo, unaweza track order yako minute by minute. Download Glovo, order anything you want and receive it in minutes.
Are you ready to start your investment journey? Impala Developers Limited presents Impala Palms, their latest masterpiece in Ongata Rongai. Featuring 2 and 3 bedroom apartments with impeccable finishes and beautifully lit rooms. Enjoy the rooftop oasis with a gym, gaming room, and scenic walking paths. Located just 100 meters off Magadi Road in the Lesa Hill area of Ongata Rongai. With a promising return on investment, seize this opportunity today. Prices start at just 6.75 million. Visit our website or call us today to learn more. Impala Palms, where your investment dreams come true.
Hayawi Hayawi Hua. KRA presents to you Tax Amnesty. Receive 100% amnesty on accrued tax interest and penalties for periods up to 31st December 2022. Tax amnesty is valid until 30th June 2024. What are you waiting for? Press reset. Visit any KRA offices countrywide or call us on 0711 099 999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke or visit the KRA website www.kra.go.ke to be advised on how you qualify. Chapa Reset na Tax Amnesty Program. Terms and conditions apply. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Welcome back and welcome to Front and Center here on NTV. Many thanks for staying with us. Tonight we are focusing on the issue of the Mavoko land dispute, the Mavoko land saga, where the latest, of course, is that the courts have ignored the pleas of both victims and a section of the political class who have been pleading with the government or the courts to halt the demolition that are currently ongoing at that block of land that the courts again last week declared belongs to the East African Portland Cement Company. The IME Malukenya Society and other interested parties had sought orders to stop the evictions and demolitions on the disputed Portland cement land. Meanwhile, Land CS Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome has said that IME Malukenya Society, which is a circle that has sold the lion's share of this land, must compensate all those homeowners whose houses were demolished. We'll get into that. But before I go to the panel, Let's listen into former Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Alfred Mutua, was former governor of Machakos. He did speak a couple of years ago on this disputed land, seemingly whistleblowing and raising the red flag. Let's listen in.
After consultation with the board of Portland, East African Portland Cement, the National Land Commission and my officers, I have written to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate massive corruption involving land grabbing of 13,000 acres East African Portland Company Limited land located at Mavoko, Machakos County. As far as we are aware, the land is still the property of Portland Cement Factory and no lease has expired. On expiration of any lease, the land will revert back to government. The land is public property and there has been no plan to parcel or sell the land. We are aware that interested groups involving senior government officials and brokers are involved in a plot to sell off the land. I direct that all those occupying the land to vacate. There are never any squatters in the land, and the people who are there right now calling themselves squatters were recently imported to justify land grabbing. The land is not and has never been for sale. Therefore, anyone who has purchased parcels of the land should consider themselves to have been conned. I advise them to report to the police. I urge EACC to move swiftly and fully investigate the attempted grabbing of the land. We urge the Commission to investigate all elected leaders suspected to be involved in the attempted grabbing, including Mavoko MP, Honorable Patrick Macau, among others. There has been no planning and or subdivision undertaken or approval given by my government for the said land. The Machakos County government has not approved any development, including fencing of the land, and therefore any buildings, including fences constructed, are illegal structures. The cancer of corruption, theft and land grabbing, even checked, will destroy Kenya forever. We have to put our foot down and say enough is enough.
That is file footage of Tourism Cabinet Secretary and former Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua. They are speaking a couple of years ago, whistleblowing, talking about that particular piece of land. I'm joined in studio tonight by architects, Professor Alfred Omenya, governance analyst Leonard Khafafa, and joining us virtually is lawyer Annabel Njoki. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the program. Prof, let me begin with you. Thousands of acres of land disputed, court case for a number of years, and then the Portland Cement win the case. The land belongs to them, the court says. Hundreds of homeowners are sitting ducks, and we saw the demolitions starting Friday. What happened in Mavoko, in your take?
No, thank you, Ben. I think Mavoko is a very interesting situation for us. It's a situation of government and politicians and the citizens behaving badly. Really, that's just what it is.
Everybody behaving badly.
Really, apart from, yes, to some degree, even Portland itself. But if you look at the Mavoko land question, amongst the very early attempts to annex this land came from government, came from Ministry of Lands. When they went to court and said that Portland had not met the conditions of their title, because they said the title was agricultural land and Portland wasn't doing agriculture, so they wanted basically the title revoked because Portland didn't meet the conditions of the title as it were. We see a government that was then very, very keen on Portland itself, and this has happened across governments. We saw the government of President Kibaki trying to go to court to turn Portland into parastatal, and they lost the case there. And then, of course, we come in, we see Portland itself also trying to sell this land to different people to sort out their financial mess that they were in. This same government that was trying to grab Portland is the majority shareholder in Portland. That's the irony. The government, has almost 54% shares if you look at what NSF has and what government has directly. Then we see this situation where government tries to annex the land again. The other day in Uhuru's time for housing, we were told that there were people from Oman and Chinese who are going to develop, a lot of houses in about 4,300 acres. Around this time, I actually got involved in this issue. So I know it very deeply because people from Portland had also approached me around that time to start thinking about an eco-city, which was linked with their diversification. And at this particular point, we are told then that government wanted to annex land. The story outside there was that government wanted to annex it for free, but that's not true. Government had offered this land, actually, to these investors for way below the market value. Right. And again, we see Portland going and fighting very hard, to block that. So in this cat and mouse game between Portland and government, particularly Ministry of Lands, and Governor Mutua highlights it very well. National Land Commission has always been on the side of Portland, actually, even appearing the other day in the Parliamentary Committee of Trade and Land, the two committees, while actually Director of Physical Planning refused to appear there. Right. But the point is that in this particular situation, we see politicians taking advantage. Politicians and people within government, and now they get connected with the circles. They literally grab land belonging to Portland. Portland, I mean, to be fair, even put billboards saying the land was not for sale. Governor Mutua has highlighted there very, very well that even the county warned people, that was about 2016. The county warned people that this land has not been alienated. The land has not been planned for any purpose. It has not been titled. So don't buy it, actually. Right. But people still proceeded to buy it. Of course, the circles that went ahead and actually bought this land were politicians who, in fact, were caught on camera telling people to build, whatever it is that they actually built. So what you see is almost a government-sanctioned land grab. And it took Portland several years. In fact, what people are not considering is that this case started quite some time back. And to me, I think, it's kudos to Portland because there's a lot of restraint. Portland only started bringing those structures down after the court ruling. Right. There may still be breaches there in terms of how that was done, but really there was a lot of restraint on Portland's. But the point I'm making, Ben, here is that we see a government and politicians and the people really ganging to grab land that they know actually belongs to a private entity. All right.
As we try and get to the bottom of what has been happening in Mavoko, Leonard, were those demolitions justified? Because these are people, hundreds of them, who lost their houses, they built. I mean, it's all coming home to roost. What is your take on all this?
First off, let me say, thank you, Ben. But first off, let me say that my sympathies my heart goes out to the people who have lost their property in this demolition. Of course, people have invested heavily. Right. From media accounts, people have taken loans to both purchase the land and to build their dream houses. And to see them go up in rubble is not a small thing. It's not a light matter. True. So my heart goes out to them. But that said, Ben, I would say that this whole saga, whatever Prof has so elaborately described, to me is the anatomy of a con game. A con game that involves government functionaries, officials from Ministry of Lands, politicians weighing in, I think SACCO leaders, the people who, various SACCOs I think are in there. Of course, there's one major one, but there are other smaller SACCOs, but all these SACCO leaders and the public themselves. Right. The way a con works is this. It appeals to greed. Let me put it this way, for this, out of sensibility, for those who've lost their out of sensitivity for those who've lost their property in this saga. The way an ACON works is it appeals to, it provides a shortcut, a means to an end, you know. And in this case, that shortcut was property ownership, house ownership. And every Kenyan, you know, we have an inordinate focus on owning homes in Kenya. I think owning a house is the ultimate security, having your four walls around you. That's the ultimate security. And many Kenyans really want to own homes. And this con game spoke to that desire to own homes. So this gullible public ignored all the red flags that were out there. As Prof has mentioned, the billboards that were being put up by Portland, the statement that we've listened to from Governor Mutua, talking at length, explaining how that land did not belong to any circle or any individual, and it was not up for sale. It was never up for sale.
Yeah.
So there were all these red flags all over the place. The notices that were put in various daily media, and ultimately the lengthy trial, the lengthy court case, the way the matter ended up in court, moving all the way to the culmination of what it was.
All right.
So yes, so at the end of the day, I would say these demolitions were justified because legal mechanisms have been exhausted,
right,
and the court has entered a verdict, and the verdict is in favor of Portland Cement.
Let me interrupt you because of time. We need to take a break, then we come back with more detail on this. But we need to hear from Wakili. Annabelle, very quickly, what is your take on this? What are your initial reactions to the demolitions and the court case and all these things that are now happening?
Hi, Ben. Thank you for having me, as always. Now, my take on the demolitions is that they're in response to a court order. An order that was not issued this year, I believe, because there was an order to evict these people issued sometime last year. So it's been a long time coming. So in response to the complaints about we weren't given notice.
Yes, Annabelle, go ahead. We can hear you. All right. We need to sort out Annabelle's microphone, but don't go anywhere. We shall be back with that point. And of course, we're trying to get to the bottom of what really happened in that Mavoko land saga. Where did the rain start beating the victims of those houses that were demolished, and who has been running this the so-called con game? Who sold the land to these people? Let's take a quick commercial break. We are back shortly.
There's a lot going on at the moment in this house.
Their true identity is uncovered in the brand new unmissable Zari. Starts 23 October, only on Maisha Magic Plus, channel 163 on DSTV Access, GoTV Plus, channel 3.
You can now manage all your finances with one app. Link your bank cards and enjoy fast, safe and convenient transactions no matter the bank or mobile money network you're on.
Benefits of ordering with Glovo. Glovo allows you to order anything you want at the comfort and convenience of your home. Craving fried chicken or pilau or pizza? Easy and simple. Order on Glovo today. Glovo. Order anything, we deliver in minutes.
With Glovo, you've got the city at your fingertips. Unajisikia kukula kitu different? Order Glovo. Ama treat the family with a sweet surprise. Download Glovo and get anything you want in minutes.
The Queen in Green screams, the Queen in Green screams, the Queen in Green screams.
The Queen in Green screams, the Queen in Green screams.
What are two things you can never eat for breakfast?
Fries and chicken, because they are meant for lunch.
It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life.
Look at us, singing sweet songs of success. Oh, teacher, your images we adore.
You made me feel like I could do anything.
This is gonna end badly.
This is a tough time, but these are the best years, believe me.
You do your best out there, let us do our best in here with the disinfecting power of Jake. Because Jake cleans and kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs and COVID-19 in your home.
Introducing the East African Entrepreneurship Conference and Expo, hosted in the heart of the Democratic Republic of Congo from October 31st to November 2nd, 2023. Proudly presented by Nation Media Group. Unleash the potential of East African entrepreneurship as you connect with visionary minds, explore untapped markets, and forge lucrative trade partnerships. Whether you're poised to conquer the vibrant business landscape of the DRC or eager to expand your footprint across East Africa, this event is your gateway to success. For comprehensive details and registration, call Joanne on 0724 661 440 or email jmasika@ke.nationmedia.com.
Are you with me?
No. This is your war. Not mine. I don't want this anymore. You're on your own, Misha.
The idea is crazy, but it's worth a try.
Thanks. You're a true friend.
Okay, just keep your fingers crossed for me and Rahina Lvivna. I gotta go.
Let me through. I need to speak to the one in charge.
In vain.
Victoria Romanivna, good day to you. Vika, I want to know what is going on here. I trusted your people with my child's health.
Yes.
Yes, and you have the police here? Inspections? My child might have a breakdown.
I'm very excited to introduce Ushidi Gardens Nakuru. This property is developed by Optiven and we are doing compacted maram roads. We plant the trees, fence the property. So please call this number 0790 300 300. Optiven, we have you covered.
There is magic when we beer together. So get ready, because the ultimate beer festival is brewing. A burning desire that keeps our hearts yearning and our souls craving for more. With unity woven in our beats and bound in laughter, a new anthem beckons. Singing out to the vibrant spirit of East Africa. Ready to reveal an experience like no other. Oktoberfest! It's more than just a charade. It's the magic that happens when we beer together. A celebration of who we are and who we can be. An invitation to come see how we do all things culture in East Africa. East Africa. Get ready for the biggest edition yet. Oktoberfest East Africa Experience.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on NTV. We are focusing on the Mavoko land saga. The courts, the land courts in Machakos today refused or declined to halt the ongoing demolitions, saying the order was very clear. The land belongs to East African Portland Cement Company. Let me go to Annabelle Njoki joining us virtually. And Annabelle, we did hear the background set there by the tourism CS, the former governor of Machakos, Alfred Mutua, when he tried to whistleblow on this particular parcel of land back in 2016, mentioning adversely there the Mavoko MP, Patrick Makau, who of course had petitioned that particular piece of land because of, like Prof told us earlier, the use it was meant for. It is not what the EAPCC was using it for. And of course, the Mavoko MP took on the former Machakos governor for defamation. It was a whole saga. But from where you sit, EAPCC did speak earlier in the week, and they appear to contradict what the government was saying they got the court order saying, the court ruling saying the land belongs to Portland Cement, but not necessarily that they wanted to evict and demolish people's houses. Earlier on, before you were interrupted, you were telling me whether or not the demolitions were justified.
I believe there was an order sought for this homeowners to be evicted. And it had been in waiting for a while, so they can't say that they did not know it was coming. However, on the issue of ownership with, Portland Cement or AIMI, as is wont to happen in this country, whenever you have a story coming to the forefront, you'll always have documents circulating on various social media platforms. So we have had a set of PDF documents from as far back as 1980, showing Council for Portland Cement seeking to have a parcel of land transferred to AIMI. And on the face of those documents, it would appear that that transfer took effect. So the question is the land where the demolitions were taking place the one that was transferred to AIMI back then? And if a transfer did indeed happen, at what point exactly then did the land revert from AIMI to Portland Cement? And even as we're asking questions as to whether the demolitions were warranted, I think we cannot address these questions without having to deal with the reality that currently the question of land acquisition and land ownership in Kenya is getting extremely murky. You're having people, one, not following due process. There's no due diligence. You're not conducting a search. You're not seeking consent from the respective land consent board that you're supposed to, so that you can proceed to transfer this property. For other people, you're going through that entire process. So you've basically done everything above board. And then you wake up one morning and you find there's somebody on your property who also has title, claiming ownership of the same parcel of land. So we're having measures being introduced through our THISASA that are seeking to address this problem. But the reality is there is a problem on the question of land ownership in Kenya currently. There are areas in this country that have developed notoriety so that people are afraid. But in as far as the court said the land belongs to Portland Cement, then they have the right to evict anybody on that property.
Right. Thanks, Wakili. Now, it's a painful process. Like you say, it's almost one of 1,000 ways to die trying to own property and develop it. But Prof, there's a school of thought that says the government should have negotiated with these guys who had developed on the land to find a way of maybe regularizing their ownership. Others are saying that, no, you can never negotiate with land grabber, wherever they may be. Where should we draw the line?
It is interesting because the question is, why should government negotiate with them? Was it government land? Technically speaking, Portland is private land. Government happens to just be a shareholder in East African Portland. East African Portland Cement Company is not a parastatal. Government tried to make it a parastatal, but they failed. So government is actually a shareholder, just like any other, but majority shareholder. So government does actually have an interest, and government. The interesting thing is that it is government that has actually been blocking the sale of land by Portland, because for many years Portland has wanted to sell part of his land to be able to restructure his finances, to deal with debts and so on, and that approval has not been forthcoming from government. So in this particular case, really what you're looking at is a private company basically evicting people who have occupied the land. But to be fair again to Portland, Portland has always said that, look, I mean, they're interested in selling this land, including to the squatters. And in fact, there's even been offers from Portland. Of course, when the land was subject to court processes, that offer wasn't there, wasn't really put on the table. But there've been offers where these guys were told that you know, for 100,000 to sort out legal issues and 500,000 Kenya shillings for the land, a total of 600,000, you'd be able to own an eighth, a 40 by 80 plot, you know, through a regular way. So I think that window is not closed. The only thing that's a bit puzzling, but I don't think is even puzzling really, I think Portland could have chosen a more political strategy of dealing with this with this issue. Yeah, because you know, sometimes evicting people when they're negotiating them might be a bit difficult. So they could have taken some sort of high-handedness that we question in terms of due process eviction guidelines and so on. But on the other hand, that could have just been the strategy to get people off the land and then be able to then sell. In fact, they actually are interested in selling. But also, we've been told quite. It was announced actually by Treasury PS that the government had found a buyer for 30% of his stake in Portland. And again, if you were to look at this, these are the sort of things that buyers look at. One of the biggest assets of Portland, actually, and Portland has said that over and over again, is his land. That because of his land, then he's not insolvent. They can actually use that land to be able to deal with quite a bit of the debt and so on. So I would imagine that when government is entrusting this third party that we've not been told which company it is, that they may want to clean up the place so that no part of that land is in dispute. And the only two ways of doing it is to ensure that areas that have been encroached by the squatters is actually either sold out altogether or reclaimed by the company. Yeah, but I think it's a very dicey issue. It's not a pretty straightforward one, because also in between here, we are told of agencies that were acting, not even between agencies that were selling this land, the circles that have been in place that Minister Wahome was very mad about and was saying that should actually compensate people. And as Bernard was saying, some people, some Kenyans made money by exploiting these end users, first organizing them. Of course, they did get payment, you know, to facilitate this land grab and so on. Yeah. So, and I think those are the criminal elements that that DCI should rightfully, you know, deal with.
All right. Let's bring in a man who has been right in the middle of the mix and, of course, whose people have been affected. That is a Mavoko Member of Parliament, Patrick Makau, joining us on the phone. Mheshimiwa, thank you for joining us. You have been mentioned adversely. First of all, in 2016, you did not take that kindly, and you have been saying you have been condemning the latest evictions and demolitions. And you're also summoned by the DCI. First of all, how involved have you been, apart from you being the Member of Parliament for that area?
Thank you, Ben, for having me. I think it's important for Kenyans to understand what we are talking about here. One, I've listened to Architect Omenya, and he says Portland is a private entity. But remember, Portland was a government entity until very recently when they sold the shares. And this land was given to Portland by government. Now, as Member of Parliament, Mavoko, that 2016, I did a petition to Parliament requiring Portland to surrender land that they had mined, because the then board had said that they have finished mining the area of parcel number LL 8784/144 and /145. For ease of understanding, that is the area after Green Park. When you pass a bridge on Mtuamawe, that is the land that me, as Member of Parliament Mavoko, took a petition to Parliament, and it was taken up by NLC. The then chairman, Mohamed Sadzuri, visited the area. The then Interior Minister, the late Gaiseri, was there, and the Committee of Lands of Parliament were there. We did a report, and we brought it back to Parliament. I think then is when the then Governor of Machakos made those unfortunate remarks that is being played today, 8 years later, and it is tarnishing my name because it could not understand how I could petition for land without going through the county government of Machakos. He said land is devolved. It should have been involved. So I want to tell Kenyans today, the parcel we are talking about is LL 10424. That land has been claimed by Aimi Malukenya and Portland. Now, from where I sit, I could not interfere with a land which had two titles. The only interest I had as Member of Parliament Mavoko was the petition of that LL number 8784, stroke 144 and 145.
All right.
And we did understand. We did an understanding with Parliament, with Portland. In fact, until last year, they gave a private entity who came and surveyed, and we agreed. They even gave us rates of every parcel, every plot, 40 by 80, 50 by 100, quarter, half, and 1 acre. And the process had begun. Members who are building that land were paying to Portland until the current DP said that must stop. And the CS Trade, Moses Kuria, stopped the process. And I was shocked the other day when I saw them put an advert that they want a regularization. So
all right.
I want Kenyans to understand that allegation.
All right. What can you tell us? What can you tell us, Umesh, about the 10424? From where you sit, why were those people allowed or let to build or develop the land when they did not have title deeds? What do you understand? What's happening right now?
As I have told you, as a Member of Parliament, I will not be in a position to know what's a genuine title and a good one. That question should have been answered by the Governor of Machakos County. Then today you cannot build a toilet in Mavoko without seeing county askaris coming there. You cannot build without an approval from the county government. So I'm asking myself, from 2014, the county government has seen these buildings come up, not 10, not 100, in their thousands. Where were they? And they were approving. You had the victims say that even the titles were being given were banks approved and gave them loans. You've heard them saying they went for search and they were given searches. So the Minister of Lands must tell us, why was this title giving searches? Why was Portland land, why was Portland title deed not being produced? Yes, I went to DCI. And when I went to DCI, the titles I was shown, most of them are titled 2022, 2023. And then they showed me the other one, which was purported to be fake, for Imalu Kenya, which was titled in 1980. So even me, I was learning from there. And as I told you, I have never had any interest in 10424 because that is a parcel which was claimed by two people. My interest was the Portland land, which they had mined. And I did a petition. And I have told you at what point we had reached with Portland.
Thank you, Umesh. Final question for you. The 10424 that you're saying you don't know much about has come about as the government is trying to expand the EPZ and needs around 1,000 acres of that. What is your take on that expansion by the national government of EPZ that has our teams, when they speak to the victims of this demolition, say the demolition started barely 30 minutes after the president spoke at EPZ and mentioned that particular issue. What's your take on that?
From where I sit, one, Article 43, every Kenyan is entitled to shelter. How I wish the government could have even called the local leadership, even the county governor. Then they sit down with that. What can we do? I remember the president said that there are 250 acres which are occupied, and we are going to remove them. Now, my question is there a human face in those demolitions? I went there personally as a member of parliament to find out. You saw the way I was tear gassed. One, I need Kenyans to understand. There is no way a Kenyan today, if is given a title, and they go to Ministry of Lands, they search, and they are told it is fine. They go to a bank. The bank does its due diligence, and they give you loan. You start building with it. These Kenyans are innocent. The people who should be blamed totally is the county government, Ministry of Lands, and in fact, the executive. Because even in their bottom-up economic model, they said no demolitions. Then recently I saw the deputy president go to Olkarau and they said railways should stop demolishing people's houses. There must be a dialogue from Muzewa Kijiji, Nyumba Kumi, MP, Senator. So I'm asking, as member of parliament in Mavoko, why is there selective, why are they choosing who to protect and who to demolish?
All right. Mheshimiwa, we should compensate the victims this time round.
The government must compel the Minister of Lands, the county government who are approving those plans for these people. They should be compelled to compensate these people. Right now, there are tents we have issued to those people to stay because now it's raining. Then you know how hard they could make times hard. How am I, as a member of parliament, supposed to sit there and see them suffering? Yet, they were exposed to this by existing government agencies.
All right.
Yes, I agree. The government is the issue of titles. They are the verifiers. They are the authenticators. They can decide your title is fake or it's genuine. So that's why I was saying there should have been some time for us to negotiate. Always where there is negotiation, where there is dialogue, we could have come up with a solution better than demolishing those houses.
All right.
I agree.
Thanks.
If it's a private property, they have a right to do what they have to do with the land. But for human face, I think, and even if you look at the case, then this case was dismissed on technical basis. And there was no eviction orders which were issued that day. So as a member of parliament, I had to ask these questions. I think even Portland, when the chairman was speaking, he said they are not the ones who gave out the demolition orders. It is the government. And that's why I was calling out to President to tell him, please stop these demolitions.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for speaking to us tonight. Very passionate, something that is close to your heart. Thank you so much. That is Patrick Makau, Member of Parliament from Mavoko, area where the demolition have been taking place over the last couple of days or so. Before I come to you, Leonard, let's listen into what President William Ruto said before or in the run-up to the election during the campaigns for the 2022 elections vis-a-vis demolitions and evictions.
Tunataka kuongeza kwanza kufukuza wale watu wakora walikuwa hapa wamechukua ardhi na hawataki kufanya chochote, wanangojea kuuzia watu wengine, wanangojea kufanya speculation. Sasa tumewaambia wafunge virago waende, na ile ardhi imepatikana ya kutoka Portland Cement. Kama serikali tutanunua kiasi ya hiyo ardhi tuongezee katika facility hii ya Athi River ya Special Economic Zone ama Export Promotion Space, ili tuweze kuajiri vijana zaidi, kufacilitate kampuni zaidi nyingi ziweze kuwa hapa, na tuendelee na program ya manufacturing industrialization katika taifa letu la Kenya.
President William Ruto not speaking before the election, but that was last Friday, speaking at EPZ when he did mention about the East African Portland Cement Company land, some of which the government wants to use to expand the EPZ factory there. Leonard, what do you have to say to those who say the government should have negotiated and found a kind of solution versus the others who say these people should have done their due diligence on what they were buying and if the titles were genuine or fake?
First of, if I may comment on what the president said before I get to answer you. Yes, there are there are space constraints at the EPZ. You know, EPZ is the export processing zone, and that's one of the ways we get direct foreign direct investment into the country through our APZs. So it's a very crucial part of our development.
One would wonder, though, what was the urgency?
Well, we have lots of investors who are coming in from Ethiopia. Apparently, people ran away from Kenya, moved to Ethiopia because they thought it was a more conducive investment environment. But anyone who has done business with Ethiopia will realize that there are always issues when it comes to repatriation of foreign currency. Ethiopians will welcome you, allow you to set up, but when it comes to repatriating your foreign currency, they'll put restrictions. So people are now coming back to Kenya, and we have huge demand for facilities to set up export processing factories. So this carving out of Portland Cement is part of that initiative to allocate space to people who are now coming in, investors who are coming in, bringing in their dollars, much needed dollars. We have need of dollars in this country. And it is also in keeping with the fact that the land allocated to Portland Cement was industrial land. So giving it to people to put up residential areas does not serve the purpose for which the land was set aside. It is industrial land. So setting a special economic zone, as the president has alluded, as CS Moses Kuria, when he was the CS of Trade, also mentioned, is in keeping with the terms and conditions of usage of that land. So basically that's what the president was referring to. Now, the people who occupied the unfortunate victims of the demolitions cannot be compensated because there's a concept in law, I think it's called the concept of innocent buyer for value without notice. It has been dealt with by a court in Mombasa, which says that any purchaser who undertakes who fails to undertake due diligence cannot claim protection under the law, especially in the face of a superior interest by a bona fide operator or proprietor. So basically, these people are exposed. There's no recourse for them. They do not carry out due diligence.
What if they can prove that they did?
But had they carried out due diligence, they would have figured out that the property belongs to Portland Cement. They would never have invested in that property. Yeah, it's unfortunate that there are layers. What we had talked about with Prof, there's a conspiracy, it's a con game. There are people who are even able to generate results when you do a search. Right. It's part of the con game that has to be investigated. Unfortunately, these are victims who cannot be compensated because they have no protection in the law. But they can still pursue those who sold them the land because these people are known. They've said that there are M-Pesa transactions, there were payments made into accounts of various societies. So these societies can be pursued. Whoever was paid, whoever received money, if there's a money trail, if there's a paper trail, these people can be pursued for compensation, but not from the government and certainly not from Portland Cement.
All right. Yeah. But Wakili, what is, Miss Wakili, Annabelle, what is your take on this issue of compensation? Is it possible for the victims of these demolitions to recover their costs? Can a class action, like some corners of the legal world have proposed, can a class action be successful?
If the land belongs to Portland Cement, that's going to be very difficult. The person you're supposed to see compensation from is the person who sold you the land. Now, basically from what Portland is saying, they did not sell. The land belongs to them, they did not sell. So these societies that were selling, where did they get the right to sell from? But I still make reference to what I had said earlier, in that we do have a problem. There are people who do not do their due diligence. and whatever repercussions they suffer are purely on them. However, we do have people who do everything they're supposed to do by the law. And then they still find themselves in a similar position to the one that the people in Mavoko are finding themselves in today. So the reality is there is a problem. So between the Ministry of Lands and the county governments and National Land Commission, they need to figure out how these things are going to be done above board. It is very unfortunate that a Kenyan is going to work so hard, accumulate whatever amounts of money they need to accumulate to acquire property, only for you to realize that you acquired air, or you are acquiring a parcel of land that is owned or alleged to be owned by 10 other Kenyans or a corporate entity. And it is unfortunate that we find ourselves having the conversation we're having today.
All right. Prof, does it make sense that EAPC, East African Portland Cement Company, is now trying to sell another parcel of land through a regularization process? Could that have been done over the contentious one, the 424, in your opinion?
Actually, I think we need to again look at this in context. East African Portland has always wanted to sell land and to develop land because that is the biggest asset they have. And like I said, I got involved at that point. They were planning to establish the city. They did even sell a bit of their land to Kenya Railways. So it's only that some of the land sales have not been approved by government. Some of those land sales have been initiated by government itself, like the land that was meant to have been sold for housing to the Omani and the Chinese investors. In fact, the only reason why that didn't go through was because the board of East African Portland felt that they were actually going to make a loss, that what government was offering was way below what they could actually get from the market. So if you look at it, it's part of East Africa's Portland strategy to use their land so that they can actually turn around their fortunes, including even that expansion into EPZ. The land we're talking about, the land holding of Portland within that area, is something in the tune of 16,000 acres, as it actually were. Yeah, so I think it's quite normal and quite in order for East African Portland to say, look, we are willing to sell this. And I think the only thing that I can't purport to know or understand is why they chose to do the demolitions first and then give the offer, because they've given the offer now to sell that same land where people's property had been demolished. And that's what I insinuated, that it could have just been their own strategy of clearing the land. Yeah, because in a sane situation where you don't have rogue government officials and really irresponsible politicians, then these parties would have just sat down, agreed on what the compensation is, because I still think, that's an area I understand very well. I still think that if somebody is offering you an eighth of an acre in that area for 600,000 in total, that's a really good bargain. The land within that area is in the tune of 2 million, 1.5 million on the lower side. Yeah, so for me the only issue is that I don't understand and don't appreciate is the way the eviction itself was done, and that one I can't purport to know why. But when it comes to offering the land for sale, they have actually, to be fair to East African Portland, they have offered that same land for sale to the same squatters that they're trying to evict. And like I've said, that is not the only piece of land that has been offered for sale. There are several pieces that have been offered for sale for different government agencies, for the export processing zone. Government itself was looking at the things for housing and so on. Yeah, I think that is actually quite clear that East African Portland does not have a problem, actually selling disposing the land to the people who actually sit there.
All right.
But meanwhile, of course, we have all these other entanglements, if I can call them that, that needs to be dealt with. But I just want to speak to one quick point. I think what Mheshimiwa Makau said must not go unchallenged. this is actually about the approvals. To be fair to the government of Machakos, they said they did not offer approvals. They said that there was no subdivision plan. And they said it in time. They didn't say it now. They said that in 2016. Really, they did. And East African Portland put big billboards saying that that was their land. So I think this is a situation, and that's, what, again, one puzzling thing, that here we are with government agencies saying this is an illegality, and people still go and, you know, subdivide the land and build for themselves houses. We've seen clips of leaders telling individuals that, look here, you build, and actually build without approvals, otherwise you lose the land and we'll allocate it to somebody else. This is in the public domain. So I think I'm actually one of those people who don't spend a lot of my time praising the government. But I think the nuances of this case demonstrates a very, very bad manners from different layers of leaders, encouraging people to actually, you know, throw away the money and risk the investments.
All right, well said. Leonard, I want to be the devil's advocate here real quick. President William Ruto, in the run-up to the election, did promise people that nobody would have their house demolished or evicted. They would find a settlement of some sorts. And of course, we've seen his big plan on affordable housing. It would appear that he's speaking from both sides of his mouth in this. There have been comparisons drawn with the evictions that we saw in Eastlands during the latter years of President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. What do you make of that?
I would disagree that the president is speaking from both sides of his mouth for this reason. One, there are fundamental differences between the evictions that happened in Ruai and Kariobangi and these ones that have happened recently. One of those differences is that, first off, the Kariobangi and Ruai property were public land. They belonged to the government. And there had been squatters there there were squatters there who had been there for up to 3 decades. It is only humane that when you're moving people who lived on a piece of property with the acquiescence of the government for 3 decades, it's only humane that you allow them time to move their possessions, and you probably find them other places, you know, where they can be moved to. You don't evict them arbitrarily and in the middle of the night, in the middle of a pandemic, contrary to the law, you know, and in the middle of a rainy season. You don't do that. That is inhumane. So that's the difference. That was public land. People had been there for decades. There had been absolutely no warning prior to their eviction. People just woke up in the middle of the night to find their belongings being scattered left, right, and center. In this instance, the Mavoko scenario, we had ample warning. Prof and Wakili have, and Mheshimiwa have actually alluded to that. I mean, going back to 2010, when the first signs of alarm were raised, 2014, when the billboards were being put up, 2016, when notices were being issued in the newspapers, when orders were given in court, when those orders were challenged in court, when there were stays of those orders, and eventually culminating to this process of eviction. It didn't happen at night. It was subject to a court process. There were orders issued.
They didn't get eviction notices this time around.
Well, notices had been issued prior. I mean, all those billboards, all those newspaper adverts, weren't those notices? Those were notices. People were put on notice. And as Prof is saying, people still disregarded all those notices and went ahead to purchase properties. Right. They not only went ahead to purchase properties, but on the strength of certificates, they subdivided the properties within themselves and put up houses. Who does that? You cannot put up a house without a title. Yeah, and you have to go through the motions, you know. You go, I mean, as they said, there was the mother title. Even if there was, assuming that mother title was genuine, they should have had subdivision, gone through all the legal motions to get their own title, gotten approvals to build before building. But people took shortcuts, did everything kienyeji, on the basis of a share certificate, built houses, even when they had been warned not to. So this is different. So the president, to my point, the president was addressing a specific constituency. In fact, when you listen to that clip, he says, watu wa Nairobi. He wasn't speaking about a generality. He was saying those people in Ruai and Kariobangi, because it was that specific incident, they ought to have been given protection, or they ought to have been evicted in a humane way.
All right.
So that's different from this one.
All right. Madam Wakili, as we wind this up, because this particular problem can be seen especially in Mavoko, Athi River, because in my research, and of course when we send teams out there, we understand that in the whole of Mlolongo, for example, we do not have title deeds. People erect, apartment blocks and commercial buildings on share certificates. So what really should happen? And of course, what would you tell people who want to buy land, especially in such areas?
I would say, allow me to just quote a friend. A friend likes saying, if he's purchasing property, he is coming to you with clean money. In exchange for clean money, he should get clean title. He is not supposed to get stories. You don't start telling him that I don't have a title because here we have an allotment letter and we are waiting for title to come. No. Get the title first, then come and sell. Because predominantly what is happening in Mavoko, you find you have parcels of land where title had not previously been issued. But government is not, how do I put it? It's not put off by the idea of issuing titles. So they tell you, Ben, okay, fine, you're a bunch of 100 people. We can subdivide this parcel of land into 100 plots or whatever, or pieces of land, and then we're going to issue you with title. But in the interim, we're giving you this allotment as your guarantee that we're going to issue you with that title. Now, in as far as government records go, whatever title is supposed to be issued is supposed to come to Ben. But Ben wants to make a quick buck, so he's not going to wait. He wants to now go and sell to Prof or Leonard or whoever it is. So Prof and Leonard are believing that they're going to get title issued in their name. But Ben has never gone back to change the records. Perhaps they've changed in whatever association he belongs to or SACCO, but they've never changed in the respective government office. And then what happens is, after he's collected money from Prof and Leonard, at the end of the day, when titles are ready, they go to collect, and they're each laying claim to the same parcel of land, but none of their names is appearing on whatever title is being issued. So Kenyans are going to have to conduct due diligence as thoroughly as they have to. One, make a physical visit to the site, ensure that the boundaries are actually where they're supposed to be. Make sure you're getting a copy of the title, nothing else short of a copy of the title. Go and you first conduct the first basic search. Go as far as requesting a green card, because the green card is the one surefire thing that will show you how this parcel of land has transitioned from the very first initial owner to the latest person, who should be the person who is looking to sell to you. Anything other than that, you're setting up yourself for a possible loss of funds, a possible heart attack, whatever it is. So that's what I would say. Make sure everything is above board.
Thank you, Madam Wakili. Very quickly, 1 minute only. Leonard, what is the ultimate solution from where you stand? And we know that the DCIs have opened a case file. It seems a bit too little, too late. We don't know what the end game is. But what's the ultimate solution for this land issues?
For those who have lost their properties, of course, recourse is only in pursuing the societies, the SACCOs and the societies that sold them the land, or whoever sold them the land, whoever took money from them. But I would look to the government's affordable housing scheme and say that for people desirous of owning a house and who do not have the capacity to conduct due diligence and to go through the motions of owning land and building, this offers a way out for them. if it is executed in the right way, affordable housing is a way out for them because it's government land, it's government guaranteed. And this is a sure path to home ownership if it is done the right way. Yeah.
All right. Prof, your final thoughts. Is there any magic bullet to this problem of land cons?
Yeah, I think Annabelle has spoken to this to some degree. Now we do have gaps in land adjudication across the whole country. We have very many places where there are no titles, and some of them are customary. In Mombasa, we have waqf land, we have absentee landlords, and so on. And people have sort of found a way of transacting around that in the informal market or in the informal system. My only advice to people is that most urban land, particularly in the formal areas, have already gone through adjudication. And if they've not, in fact, the titling process, these are individuals who can actually afford the titling process. So people should not take shortcuts. They should actually just buy land with titles or throw away the money. I don't understand how somebody comes to build a house worth 20 million on a land with no title. That is extreme foolishness, and I think such people should suffer for their stupidity. And the second thing is that we do have professionals. I myself work in this sector, but there's not a single piece of land that I've been involved in, that I've been interested in, where I don't engage proper lawyers. If there's any question about this property and so on, I don't touch it. Because I work very hard, Ben, for every single cent that I have. I would hate, that it was because of my own mistake that I didn't have this. But having said that, again, as Annabelle has highlighted, there are sometimes you do everything and still, get into the con game. But as much as possible, people should actually use professionals. Professionals will tell you. I've had a sad case as I close. I've had a sad case of an individual who built a house worth of 100 million. And when I wanted to make changes to this house in the middle of the city, we couldn't get drawings in City Hall, and were quite puzzled. But when we went to site, we could see where the problem was. This house was actually in a riparian wayleave, despite the fact that it had a title. It was within 50 meters riparian and a 9-meter road reserve. So there was technically no place to build, although the plot existed, in theory. Yeah, so people should actually get into due diligence. I think I respect everybody and their money, regardless of how they've gotten it, and I think it is important for them to protect that that money. And for urban land, there is absolutely no reason not to go through this process, because most of that land has been subjected to adjudication and can actually be regularized.
Thank you. Well said. Professor Alfred Omenya, architect, governance analyst Leonard Kafafa, and lawyer Annabelle Njoki, just trying to make sense of what has been happening in Mavoko and some of the ways to troubleshoot this. And the main thing is do your due diligence properly. We shall continue to keep an eye on what's happening in Mavoko, the LR 10/424. Of course, the victims of that land continue to chase justice. The DCI have opened a case file. They are seeking to get justice for the victims of these demolitions. The government, the lands minister, the lands cabinet secretary, Alice Wahome, has said that Aimi Malu Kenya, the society that sold a lot of the bulk of this land, has to compensate people whose houses have been demolished. We shall continue to cover this story the way only we can. Keep an eye out for you. So we leave it on front and center tonight. I'm Ben Kitili. Good night from my own.
This is NTV.
Benefits of ordering with Glovo. Glovo allows you to order anything you want at the comfort and convenience of your home. Craving fried chicken or pilau or pizza? Easy and simple. Order on Glovo today. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes.
With Glovo, you've got the city at your fingertips. Unajisikia kukula kitu different? Order Glovo. Ama treat the family with a sweet surprise. Download Glovo and get anything you want in minutes.
My name is Norman Mudibo. For me, Man Cave really came at a very opportune time. It offers a platform for men to really open up. I've attended both. The first one was in Karen, Nairobi County. The second one was in Limuru County. And of course, looking forward to the third one, which will be in Kajiado County, specifically Oletipis picnic site. It is a safe space. Come, share your story. Inspire other men. Inspire the boys who are coming up. Inspire the men folk to really open up, to share, and to help each other grow to the next level.
Introducing the East African Entrepreneurship Conference and Expo, hosted in the heart of the Democratic Republic of Congo from October 31st to November 2nd, 2023. Proudly presented by Nation Media Group. Unleash the potential of East African entrepreneurship as you connect with visionary minds, explore untapped markets, and forge lucrative trade partnerships. Whether you're poised to conquer the vibrant business landscape of the DRC or eager to expand your footprint across East Africa, this event is your gateway to success. For comprehensive details and registration, call Joanne on 0724 661 440 or email jmasika@ke.nationmedia.com.
Are you with me?
No. This is your war. Not mine. I don't want this anymore. You're on your own, Misha.
The idea is crazy, but it's worth a try.
Thanks. You were a true friend.
Okay, just keep your fingers crossed for me and Rahina Lvivna. I gotta go.
Let me through. I need to speak to the one in charge.
In vain.
Victoria Romanivna, good day to you. Vika, I want to know what is going on here. I trusted your people with my child's health.
Yes.
Yes, and you have the police here? Inspections? My child might have a breakdown.
I'm very excited to introduce Ushidi Gardens Nakuru. This property is developed by Optiven and we are doing compacted maramuros. We plant the trees, fence the property. So please call this number 0790 300 300. Optiven, we have you covered.
There is magic when we beer together. So get ready, because the ultimate beer festival is brewing. A burning desire that keeps our hearts yearning and our souls craving for more. With unity woven in our beats and bound in laughter, a new anthem beckons. Singing out to the vibrant spirit of East Africa. Ready to reveal an experience like no other. It's more than just a charade. It's the magic that happens when we beer together. A celebration of who we are and who we can